Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first Feelings First live stream. We're here, of course, in aid of the Under Hollow Hills Kickstarter. And to get us started, I am going to pass this over to our wonderful Mistress of Ceremonies, Luke. Take it away.
Hey there. Welcome to Feelings First, a queer actual play live stream about messy relationships, complex characters, grounded stories, and exploring emotional landscapes. With me, as always, are the wonderful Ashley.
That's me. Hello, I'm Ashley. I use she, her pronouns. I am a streamer. This is my channel. Hello. I'm a scientist and a model and many other things. You can find all my stuff at ashleynova.space. And be sure to check out the Under Hollow Hills Kickstarter. If you type !Kickstarter in the chat, you will get a link to that.
And Finbar.
Hello, I am Finbar. I use he, him pronouns, and when this show is a podcast, I edit it, so I have tonight off. I'm on Twitter at FinbarDS. You can follow the show on Twitter at feelingsfirst_.
And then rejoining our cast after some time away for tonight's show, we have Andrew.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Commuting Crow. I am writing some games and stuff, so you can check all that out.
And Emily.
Hello, I'm Emily. I use she, her pronouns. I'm on Twitter at blackwallsays. I'm an artist and a soon-to-be scientist as well.
And I remain, as ever, your Mistress of Ceremonies and Minister of Revels. My name is Luke. My pronouns are they, them. I am a professional GM for children and a game designer. You can find me on Twitter at Wildwoods Games. Today, as Ashley said, we are celebrating the release of the Under Hollow Hills Kickstarter by playing it live for you right now. Under Hollow Hills is a game by Megan Vincent Baker. It's very good. We think it's pretty great, actually. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. And to begin, I thought I would just read the description from their Kickstarter page to give you all an idea of what the fuck it is that this game is about. So, there is a traveling circus under the Hollow Hills. It travels by moonlight, small wagons creaking in the night silence. It travels lost roads where the fireflies and wisps hover to watch it pass, where goblins peer down from their tree branch perches, and owls do too. It travels the night world and the day world, fairyland and the living earth, and places otherwise, and no border can keep it out. It has mysteries to pose, drama to perform. It has music, juggling, acts of death-defying peril, pratfall comedy, and it has dangerous secrets to tell. We are its performers, its ringmaster, its clowns, its sideshow, and its stars. We're its crew, rigging the tents, mending the costumes, planning the show, and selling t-shirts and popcorn. We're fairy kind and humankind. We're the circus, and the circus is us. The circus is a leveler of all. We're not subject to the usual games of status and wealth, hierarchy and social value that society plays. To us, a human child's birthday party in a vacant parking lot is the same as a command performance for the great crowned heads of fairyland. We travel through fairy and the mortal world, performing as we choose. Wherever we perform, we change. We change the seasons, we change the fortunes of those we perform for, and we change their hearts. We change ourselves. That is the game. We change. And in all of this, my agenda as the Mistress of Ceremonies is to make Fairyland vivid, to follow the circus wherever it goes, to give the circus good times and bad times, and to play to find out what happens. So, we don't have a huge amount of time today, so I figure let's just jump right in. Let's get started.
Mm-hmm.
Stage curtain comes up, stage lights come on a location somewhere on the border between autumn and winter in Fairy. This place is called Orchard Cross, and I think what we see on stage is just like a massive, gnarled ancient apple tree. So big that like we are on kind of like ant to mouse scale in comparison to it. There are, like little doors among the roots that the circus with its many wagons is slowly trundling towards. And as far as the season goes, it is somewhere in the middle of autumn and winter, kind of dreary gray skies, colorful leaves, some still on the trees, but mostly on the ground, and a bitter edge to the wind. And I think I might get everyone to just introduce themselves one by one, tell us who you are, tell us, what you look like, tell us maybe about some of the cool, weird shit that you can do. And then if you could read out your binding options and see if we can't find some other players to volunteer for them. Whoever wants to go first, I'm not picky.
I think Jumbo might be the most obvious. So I'll, as the name suggests, Jumbo is rather large. Jumbo is a troll who, on the subject of what are the really amazing and spooky and strange and mystical things they can do, it's sort of summarized by they big. Lots of... Yeah, I one of my moves is literally plays is to tower over somebody. That can be a thing to protect the person I'm towering over, or to really terrify them, depending on how Jumbo is feeling. I can also break somebody, or hunker down to resist the bad times. Jumbo, as what Jumbo looks like, literally a moving cliff. Jumbo is literally made of rock. And honestly, if they stop, it just looks like they just look like a big boulder in totally the wrong place. They're like made of like the wrong kind of rock for the place we're in. Almost, except for the fact they're wearing a very small, can imagine a hat you might wear to a wedding, like a
fascinator. Yeah,
more fascinator than hat. That is perched on one small outcropping. As for Jumbo's bindings, I once took hold of blank in a rage and threw them so high into the air that they nearly cracked their head on the moon. I can never again set a scene for them or draw them out. Who? And blank once out-ate, out-drank, out-sang, outworked, or out-farted me. They cheated, but I don't know it. I can never break them or tower over them. Who? Any volunteers?
I am not a farter, so I don't think I fit. And you best not have thrown me. That would not have stood. So I don't think these work for my character.
Okay. Does anybody else think they could out-eat or out-drink or out-sing or outwork or out-fart a troll?
I think my character may have outworked the troll.
How dare you? Could you remind me, you are quartermaster?
Yes.
Okay. We can potentially work out some of the further details once you've introduced yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering,
I'd be happy to have been thrown into the moon. That would be
cool.
fine.
I'm okay with that.
I'm alright
Sure.
with that. I think I told you something you really didn't want to hear about yourself.
Yeah, fair. I
So
imagine adapting
threw
to
me
the
into the
circus
moon.
life has been interesting for Jumbo. So, okay. I once took a hold of Sam Cinders in a rage and threw them so high into the air they nearly cracked their head on the moon. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And
Deal.
Quartermaster once outworked me. But you did cheat. I just don't know. I just don't know that you cheated.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess at the moment, like, There is a cart. Jumbo does have a cart. I don't know whether they can actually fit in it sometimes, but maybe just moving along on top of it as it's being pulled by their big angry goat. And that's me. Nope. That was suddenly the sounds of the outdoors.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. My microphone is being a bit.
Okay.
You're coming in loud and clear, Luke. We're
Very
receiving
good.
some occasional interference.
Very good. Well, I'm going to try and sort that on my end. Meanwhile, thank you, Finbar. Who wants to go next? Volunteers?
I can go. Given that we've introduced
Sure.
my character's name, I will be playing the Nightmare Horse. I am of no kind, man or fairy. I am the Nightmare Horse. I play people by dragging them under, by taking their breath away, and I can play a situation by changing my form and seeming, or disarming the situation. Currently, on the stage, the Nightmare Horse takes the form of a mighty stallion, midnight blue, and calm as still water. And then I have some bindings, right? Somewhere in all of these rules.
They're on the character sheet as well. I think they're like the...
Okay,
second one
I've
down.
got like a million windows open. Okay, so
There.
my bindings. One of you, I've fallen in love with you, though naturally I keep the fact from myself. Who, I can never put you off. And then my other is, one of you, I've caught you opening a door you had no business opening. Who, and what door? I can never draw you out or disarm any situation that you are a part of.
While I think it would be very funny if the Nightmare Horse was in love with a moving cliff, I don't know whether either of these fit me so perfectly that I'm going to stake like first claim.
Horses are always pictured running along cliffs,
Next to
Relationship
cliffs.
has-
Exactly.
on top of.
Aesthetic.
Everyone knows horses love rocks.
Yeah, it is known.
Oh dear.
But I don't know. Do you want to? I feel like it would be the most straight up answer to these two, right? Would be that you're in love with my character, who is meant to be pretty, and that you caught the witch opening a door that they shouldn't. And so I think we should flip that.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was
Yes.
thinking.
Yes. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Andrew,
Because
it's
if you
good
were
to
in
have
love with
back.
my character, you wouldn't be able to hide it from yourself.
Right, yeah, exactly. No, that makes
You
perfect
know,
sense.
that wouldn't be possible.
And it's great because if you're in love with my character, I probably know that, even though you don't know that.
Yes,
Exactly.
and that to me sounds really fun.
Excellent.
So yes, you caught Eunice opening a door that she had no business opening.
What was that door?
Yeah, what door?
I think Eunice is arrogant enough to assume that all doors belong to her, and so yeah, like, is there a place that the Nightmare Horse is from? And maybe this door led
I mean, they are the
there.
Nightmare Horse.
So are you from like the land of nightmares? Is this like an actual place?
I mean, I am a dweller in the night sky and the deep water.
Yeah, so maybe this door was like a pool or something.
Yeah.
And Eunice like just went into it, curious to see what was on the other side.
Yeah, okay. So I think there's a door in the back of my glamorous wagon that leads to some mysterious pool.
Totally went and fucked with your
Fantastic.
hot tub.
And so my character while they do not have a name, because they are the Nightmare Horse, has adopted the title of Quartermaster for convenience of the other characters, and they use they them pronouns. Who's next?
I guess I should have stated Jumbo also goes by they them pronouns.
Cool.
I'll go next.
Yeah, tell us about Eunice.
So Eunice, I'm playing the Crowned Stag. And so Eunice is fairy nobility, regal, gorgeous, self-involved, and radiant. She is always there, gorgeous and flirty. This is the game telling me so. I didn't even make that up. And Eunice is like a very big, strong lady. This isn't like dainty nobility. This is like in the tradition of like Hercules or other kind of heroic figures. And so, yeah, she is this kind of big, full-figured lady with antlers that have cherries growing in them. And yeah, she's like very warm and kind of lush. Notably, I have a mirror that if you look in it, you'll see your father's face, your mother's face, your past, your future, what you've lost, what you've kept, and or what you'll yet have. My wagon is very nice. I've got cool shit in it. You're probably not allowed in there, but
I do like how the only thing you can't see when you look in that mirror is you right now. It doesn't do the function of a mirror.
Yeah, exactly. Everything else, it's got covered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look in it, and in your own face, you see all these other things. Yeah. Yeah, and I think in terms of like her job within the circus, that Eunice is kind of a like glamorous strongman type character.
Oh my god, there was recently a thread on Twitter that had a bunch of photographs, like Victorian era photographs of Victorian strong women.
Yeah, very much that kind of vibe.
They big.
Yeah. And so my bindings that I have are that Blank and I have a regular thing, and we're easy in one another's company. If I confront them, put them off, waylay them, or stand regal before them, they may consider it an insult. And that I have treated Blank too casually before now. I can never again set a scene for them, and if I catch eyes with them, I make myself beholden to them, whatever they choose.
I mean, I like that second one.
Yeah, that I've treated you too casually. It makes sense that I would treat a witch too casually. Okay. And sorry, your character's name is again?
Cinder Sam.
Cinder Sam. Who do I have a regular thing with? Then I'm easy. We are easy in each other's company. Am I like strong buddies with the troll? Do we like hang out?
I like that idea.
Yes.
Okay.
That sounds very good.
I think it would come from different walks of life, but I like that. Yeah.
But in the ring.
All are equal.
Yeah, exactly. Only strength matters.
Exactly. Cool. Yeah. Sounds good.
All right.
Jumbo.
And then finally, but certainly not last or least.
Well, I am last. That's fine.
I would hesitate to say so.
So I'm playing Cinder Sam, the Crooked Wand. I have a creaking, weather-warped cart, which is pulled by a cheerful old ox. And I think this cart, even though it's very, very small, you sort of look at it from the outside and it kind of looks like it's been partly collapsed and like you couldn't really fit a lot in there. But it has a little chimney that's like perpetually smoke is rising and twisting out of it. I also always carry on me this like a really rusty-looking old sword, and I have a really annoying cat who, at the moment, has intensely yellow eyes, and mostly I think the cat is annoying in that it just likes to be in private places. Like if someone's trying to do something and not be seen, probably the cat is sitting nearby and just kind of looking at them. Doesn't really do anything annoying. It just tends to be where you don't really want anyone to be. It has that habit. Yeah, and Sam uses they them pronouns, and has kind of like short spiky hair. They're very kind of angly, and they have sort of their skin always looks like it's a bit sooty. And I have 2 bindings. I have I once turned blank into a little bird, put you in a cage, and let my cat stare at you with its yellow eyes. I can never again waylay them or blindfold them. And I also have blank once confessed to me their heart's true love and longing. I can never put them off.
I like the sound of the bird one.
Yeah?
I think it would be quite funny if the reason my character is in love with you is because you're the only person who's ever put the nightmare horse in their place.
Yes. That's pretty good. I like it. That's excellent. All right. I will put them in there.
Do you have a good idea for Jumbo's heart's desire?
Heart's true love and long.
Yes.
I'm not sure I have one, but I really like the idea. And I have a thought that maybe at least the current true answer. So.
All right.
I mean, hold on to it, Finbar. You know, like
Yeah,
until it comes up in play, we don't have to answer that question.
Yeah. So yes, Jumbo has definitely.
Jumbo once confessed to me their heart's true love and longing. Fantastic. Wonderful.
Cool. Actually, just double checking. It was they them pronouns for the Nightmare Horse?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. I'm just editing the character sheets. So
usually the Nightmare Horse would not use any pronouns, but they realized that for convenience sake.
Linguistically inconvenient.
Yep. Just always the Nightmare Horse in full every single time.
Exactly. Yep. All right. So we have our cast of and then there is the 5th member of the circus. Right now, this is a very small circus because it's a very new circus. This is the first show that the Hollyrose Circus, I think, has actually really done. Like, maybe they stopped off at some clearing where a bunch of brownies and hobs who, you know, like were done with work for the day were just like bumming around and they did like a quick show there. This is the first like for real show. The 5th member of the circus is its founder and its kind of like de facto ringmaster. And to anyone who has been keeping up with the podcast will be familiar, this is what has become of the once Liege Briar. They're going by Holly Briar now. And to paint this picture very briefly, there is a fine wagon, I think not in the front, but like at the back of this little procession, a fine wagon with shuttered windows and fluttering pennants pulled by a well-behaved pony, and kind of lounging about on the front seat, not really doing any driving, is this pine green, rose red lipped, barefooted, queerish, crooked smiling, kind of like layabout noble, taking it all in. And I think that's about all we need to know about Briar. So
it's not all I need to know.
So the circus comes rolling in up to the very bottom of this enormous apple tree, in among where the roots kind of like protrude out of the soil, and there are a number of small hidden doors. And as you kind of like come up in there, one of the doors opens and someone steps out. They are colored like an apple, which is to say that I think their skin is that like yellow color that some apples have when apples are yellow, and their cheeks are a red color, the color that apples are when apples are red, and their clothes are a green color, the color that apples are when apples are green. And I think there is something very like apple skinish about the texture of their skin, including like I think they're a little bit like, careworn about the forehead and worry-worn about the eyes in the way of like a slightly shriveled apple. And they kind of like open this door, come out, see you all pulling up, say, the circus. Then welcome. I have some slightly bad news. There's been a bit of a delay, I'm afraid.
A delay?
God, I'm sorry, Finbar. That's a very good voice.
It is very good.
Yeah, I think they are taken aback somewhat by this pile of rocks as it begins to talk. Yes, delay. You are the HOLLYROSE Circus, yes?
I think maybe Eunice will like hop down from her wagon and like shoulder the enormous bowl aside, like it shies away from her as she like strides forward and is just like, enough with your mealy-mouthed pandering. Just tell us why. Yes, we're the circus. And then she kind of like looks over at Jumbo to see if they got the joke. Like hams it up a little bit, like, huh? And then like while they're answering, Eunice is like mealy-mouthed and like elbows Jumbo again.
A sound of many rocks falling on another stone surface. The
long and the short of it is they explain that like you were all here, and I think Briar certainly knows this. Individual members of the circus may know more or less. You're all here because the Crown of Seasons is about to pass along from the King of Falling Leaves to the Snow Queen, because it is that time of year. And so you are all here to perform for their royal majesties at this kind of like passing along ceremony. The only problem is that the King of Falling Leaves is running late. And not just like, oh, he's 5 minutes late, like he was meant to be here, last night late, and there's still no sign of him. And the Snow Queen's like retinue, who she brought with her, are starting to get a little restless. And the subjects of the King of Falling Leaves who live here, because it's technically on the autumn side of the border, are not exactly being too politic about the situation. Anyway, things are tense. A lot of people are getting day drunk to forget. They make very good cider here. And Brisk, who is the regent here, who you're talking to, the cellarer, is both just generally concerned about how everything is going, because they just seem really upset that everyone doesn't just kind of like get it over with and out of their hair, but also is very apologetic that like your show obviously is going to have to be delayed because until the King of Falling Leaves arrives, it's not time for a show yet. There is the situation you find yourselves in. Does anyone know how they want to play it?
Well, Eunice is not like, I think she's Jumbo again, because I always address Jumbo even when I'm talking to everyone. And it's like, well, we do not delay the show will happen and the king will attend, certainly. Who would miss the show, really? Don't you think we should just do it?
Bring the mountain to Mohammed, or a king in this case. I am the mountain. It's a joke.
Oh, I see. Yes, very good. You're definitely getting the hang of it, old bean, old sport.
Old bean.
Like gives you a little punch to your giant rocky shoulder.
Thank you.
So I think
God.
I think the nightmare horse comes trotting up from their wagon and just lets out a mighty delay is unacceptable. We are on a tight schedule.
Maybe
I think
Sam?
yeah, I think I sort of like stumble out from the back where my wagon was, and trot up to the nightmare horse, and I sort of say quietly to you, if you'd like, I can throw the bones. I can find out what kind of time we're looking at.
Ooh. Yes. Find the king, and we shall go rescue the king, and then we will be famous.
Drag him here by his ear, more like it. Like, hands on hips. Eunice is just very unhappy. I never wait for any man. And then, like, trots off to her carriage.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I think I like kind of sit down on a route that is nearby, and pull out some very worn, tattered cards, which are kind of hard to read now by anyone other than me, and begin laying them out. And
cool.
yes, I would like to ask the MC a question.
Well, yeah, let's step through the play. So just to talk about rules for a moment for the audience's benefit and also for Emily and Andrew, this is a PBTA game. It makes some slight shifts in the language it uses for moves and also the like facing of them. Instead of it being like, oh, we describe what we're doing perfectly within the fiction, and then we're like, oh shit, we just triggered a move, and we like do the move. Here, you're like, I want to do a move. Tell us that, and then as you step through the procedure, like bit by bit, it will tell you where to add. It will tell you what to do, and you can add fiction as kind of appropriate. So in this instance, I'm like, let's just, when you throw the bones, roll. So like, let's get going. Let's do this thing.
All right. Okay. Oh, that's right. My 6 key is terrible. Oh man, that's gonna be great.
How are you at throwing the bones, incident? Oh, you're all right. You're all right at that.
I'm all right at it. Yeah, let me have a look.
Could be worse.
Yeah, +1. All right. Cool. Okay, it is a 7.
Ooh.
So on a 7 to 9, ask 2 questions. You must make up your own questions. There are no limits on them. The MC must answer truthfully. If the MC's answer is later proven wrong, you may consider it an insult or even a terrible shock.
Goodness.
Okay.
So you might just die if I tell you
exactly.
it's not true. Yes.
Exactly. I might just die. All right. So I don't think it's quite as straightforward as like when will the king arrive, because I think the way that I operate, that doesn't really give me a lot. What I would like to know is what sign will precede the arrival of the king? Like, what will I see just before he arrives?
Oh, that's incredibly easy, and I know what the answer is to that question.
Okay.
Yeah, you like turn over the card, and it's like whatever your deck's standard for the tower is.
Mm-hmm.
And among the imagery on the card is an autumn tree shedding all its leaves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. All right.
Yeah, the leaves will fall.
Great. And then my second question is, while we're waiting, whose impatience do we need to be most worried about? I'm thinking. I'm expecting the answer to be like someone other than the group of us, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the case. Yeah, it could be.
I mean, you don't need to read cards to know that
Exactly. I think that's an
bigger problem.
assumed.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
question is probably aside from Eunice.
Aside from Eunice, it's the Snow Queen.
Okay.
I think
Right.
you. What would it be? I think it would probably be like your deck's like equivalent of like the Moon or the High Priestess.
Mm,
And yeah, it's like a woman all in white and blue, kind of
mm,
old and wise and wizened
mhm,
and like bitter and frowning.
mm, mhm. All right. So yeah. So I think I sort of stand up and whenever I like move, I do lots of like clicking and creaking. I'm one of those really like snappy kind of people. So I stand up and crackle a lot, and I again I think I address the nightmare horse and I say the leaves are still all attached, so I would think we have still most of a day at least
It's most
before King
unusual.
is here.
It is the end of autumn. Why are the leaves not fallen already?
I think that's something to do with the king.
Clearly, this king
himself.
of leaves is slacking on his job.
Perhaps something's gone wrong.
Jumbo lifts one arm and goes, I could make the leaves fall.
I think like I sort of like turn to you and kind of like do this a little bit and I sort of for a minute you can see me going, I wonder if that would work. And then I say in a sort of a low voice, I also think the Snow Queen is already getting very restless and is likely to become more of a problem before the leaves fall. So that's
I will deal with this Snow Queen.
I have never met a queen before.
You're not missing anything.
Oh.
And Eunice tumbles out of her wagon and says, I resent the implication, Jumbo. Like crosses her arms. But she is currently, she's wearing armor now.
Fantastic.
It has like a sword at her hip.
Fantastic.
So, in order to go and meet the
Snow Queen.
The Snow Queen, I believe I should not present myself in my current form, and so I am going to change my form and seeming.
Of course, as one does.
So I am going to transform myself, which I have a +1. I get an 8.
Nope.
Well, that was loud.
That was very loud.
So when I change my form and seeming roll on a hit, I can take the form of a beautiful person, a beautiful horse, with or without a horn, or my true form. I remain in this form until I change it again. So I'm going to take the form of a beautiful person. So
you turn into Eunice. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So the nightmare horse changes into the form of like a fairly androgynous like elven kind of person. They've got like pointed ears and a very slender face, a long face, one might say, and they have these deep midnight blue eyes, and hair that just seems to like drift slowly on its own, and they are wearing like silken robes of colors of the ocean, and they walk barefoot through the ground to find the Snow Queen.
All right.
I think just seeing the transformation and Eunice now in armor, Jumbo just goes, "Oh, are we changing costume?" and takes the little fascinator off, puts it in the top of their wagon, and takes out a small like Roman centurion helmet and puts it in the same place. And they give the vibe of being pleased with themselves, but it's very hard to tell.
Of course.
Should I go find the king?
And Eunice like does a little tap on Jumbo's chest, like, yes, we could find the king, and kind of looks to everyone else for not permission so much as like approval. Like, I want to be lavished in praise for being heroic, not that I need them to tell me it's okay, certainly.
That sounds, Eunice, like a rather excellent idea. And Briar has finally dismounted from their wagon at the back and kind of sauntered forward to see what all this holdup is.
Hello, Holly.
Oh, you're awake.
Well, you know, one can't nap all day. We don't all need as much beauty sleep as you, dear.
We're gonna go find the king. Who's coming with me? Any takers? And like Eunice will like just point to anyone around and be like, "You gonna come? You weird little shriveled apple guy, you coming?" Like
Brisk is like, absolutely not.
I will save the king.
My God.
I think yes. I think I sort of say yes. I just need to get my other cards. I'm just going to get yes. I will get my other right back. Scutter off.
And so we're gonna step into the woods on this one, obviously.
Are we? Okay.
And so I can invite people, and they can come if they choose to.
That's very true.
And so, yeah, do we want to follow the Nightmare Horse though, and resolve our quest for the king?
I think let's step into the woods, and then like once you'll get into the woods, we can cut back and we'll leave you all there in the woods for a bit.
Into the woods.
So for stepping into the woods, I'm passingly decent at stepping into the woods. I get a 9.
Ooh.
So I choose one of the following. So, I think Eunice just kind of intuitively knows where the king is. And so obviously I'm going to take us to the right place, which of course means, where's the bad one? Yeah, you're in the dark woods where the trees have turned cruel and treacherous tracks lead. There's danger. You all agreed to come. You can't back off now.
I think
Too
the
bad.
thing is, Jumbo has offered Cinder Sam, like, if they would like to ride on Jumbo's shoulder. Like,
Well,
your legs
it does
are
occur to
small.
me. Your legs are so small. It does occur to me that if the Nightmare Horse is going to do political things, I think I probably wouldn't want to just abandon them to do that on their own. So perhaps actually, if we're kind of going in two different directions, I may have chosen to stay with the Nightmare Horse.
I like the idea that you were like, "Oh yes, I'll come. Just let me get my other cards."
Yeah, and then you just left without me? Yes, that's exactly what happened.
And he was just like, "Well, we waited. Let's go."
Although I think maybe the cat is with you.
Oh my God.
Great.
Yes.
So the cat can ride on your shoulder.
Yeah.
It has very small legs.
Asleep in a little divot in Jumbo's shoulder.
Yeah, and so like Andrew, what does it look like when you step into the woods and like magically lead people with you to weird forested places?
Oh gosh. So what vibe do I want to do for this? I think so yeah, she just says, all right, we're ready to go. Great. Tarfine, and she just like shouts very brusquely over her shoulder, and this little Bogart comes out carrying a sword, and she grabs the sword and doesn't take like the scabbard with, just pulls it out of the scabbard. So she's got this like naked sword that she's waving around theatrically now, and then she just like chops a vertical slice in the air, and there's just like the vista just changes. It's like it just creates an opening that she can walk through into the woods, and we just see like these towering like oak trees, twisted and sinister, but of course she just like strides into
Yeah,
it,
the
like,
backdrop parts, and just like behind it we can see another place.
yeah, as if like curtains opening, right? And yeah, she's just like, oh, he would be in a place like this, wouldn't he? And like she's just kind of muttering to herself about how like typical and tedious kings are as she like glumps into the woods.
And Jumbo is just like nodding and agreeing. Doesn't really know anything about kings, but is like, yes.
Yeah, and so the two of you step through, the gap closes behind you, and yeah, Cinder Sam, like you and Brisk are just kind of left like, oh, yeah, Cinder Sam, you and Brisk are left kind of like just awkwardly, like outside the door. The Nightmare Horse is already strode inside. There's like a bunch of wagons here. I think Briar has gone back to napping, to be honest. Yeah, and so Brisk just kind of looks at you like, what is going on? I'm so
I think I like put a hand out and like gently sort of touch Brisk's arm, and my hands are really warm, and I say and when they speak, their voice is like much less unsure than it has been, and they say, it's fine, don't worry about it, we're going to find the king, and the horse is going to solve the political problems that are brewing inside. I'm just going to go in and follow them and help out. And then I just like, move to go past them.
Yeah, and they like, we get like a beat, and you're like already past them, and they nod as though like, still making eye contact. And they're like, watch out for Nell. He's drunk again.
Right, and I like turn back and like give a firm nod, and I say, thank you, we'll watch out.
Yeah, and so like inside Orchard Cross, like just to describe, I think the interior of this place is mostly like, you know, like weird little burrowing tunnels under and through and between the roots, with like little curtains of roots, sometimes in place of doors or hanging in front of doors, and some doors in the roots. It's quite like a twisting maze down there. But I think, you know, quickly enough, you kind of like get the lay of the land. There's plenty of people around to ask for directions. And so like the main locations here in Orchard Cross, there's like, you know, wherever the queen is staying. There is it's not like the brewing room. It's like the cellar, which has been converted into a like drinking hall by the Snow Queen subjects while they wait. There is, I think, up in like the topmost branches of the tree, up a very long spiral stair, there is like kind of like a big platform where all the apples get gathered onto, that also incidentally is like a really good lookout post. And then, you know, there's like the big still, which is where the cider gets turned into apple brandy. But obviously it's not time for that yet, because there hasn't been any apples picked, so there isn't any cider. So, Nightmare Horse or Nightmare Horse or Cinder Sam, where do you go? What do you want to do here?
I'm definitely following the Nightmare Horse, so.
Okay.
I would like to find the queen.
I don't think that is hard. I think you follow your Nightmare Horse-ish instincts, and you find the queen's suite. There is, yeah, I think it's like down at the very bottom of the route. So like you go like down a ways, where the soil starts to get like both damp and like cold to the touch. There's even like, I think, little droplets like of water like running, condensed water running along the branches.
The Nightmare Horse feels very at home here.
Yeah, right. That was my thought. Yeah, there's like roots as kind of like support beams in the ceiling that, yeah, like dripping little bits of water. Some of them have like a little light dusting of frost. And you come all the way down, and then there is a door. It is like a big, impressive door. I think it's made of like ice, but like cloudy frosted ice. And standing in front of it, well, not standing, sitting in front of it, having a little picnic, and not quite holding hands, but with like the energy of two people about to hold hands, are one person who is like very kind of like snow pale in all of their clothing and all of their hair, and one person who is all in like autumn colors. And the two of them are having a picnic and we're about to hold hands. And as soon as the two of them see you, they look very guilty indeed. And the winter one kind of like stands up and quickly like reaches around to retrieve a sword that was discarded somewhere to like go back to like pretending to have been standing guard dutifully. So hold, who goes there?
And the Nightmare Horse, in their human form, is just like standing very calmly with like their arms tucked inside their sleeves, and says, "I'm the quartermaster of the circus. I require to speak to your queen."
Is this just talking or is there a play here?
This is just talking for now.
Yep, okay. Yeah, I think she goes a bit pale because she doesn't like the thing that she's about to have to do, and she like screws up her courage and she's like, look, I'm really sorry about this. You seem very regal, and I would love to let you in, but Her Majesty has commanded that she is not to be disturbed until the King of Falling Leaves arrives and the passing of the crown can happen. So I'm sorry. I can't let you in.
The Queen's desires are irrelevant. We are on a tight schedule. Open the door immediately, else feel my wrath.
I think I kind of like poke my head out from behind the horse and I say, and also we might be able to help. We might be able to help her, the Queen, also.
I'm confronting them.
Are you?
Yes.
Tell us how that goes.
When I confront someone, I roll. So I'm gonna do that. What do I have? I have a +1. I get an 8.
Yeah.
So on a 7 to 9 hit, if they don't want to back down or force my hand, they can try to prevaricate, mollify me, explain, bargain, or justify themselves.
Okay, and so what is the thing you want is to see the Snow Queen?
Yes.
What is the explicit or implicit threat here?
I am going to throw them aside and open the door myself.
Okay, you're going to physically...
Yes.
Oh boy. I think they just start to like look, I really don't want to, please don't hit me. I'm not very good with a sword yet. I've only been doing this for 6 months. I really need this. I'm already gonna be in so much trouble. Please don't do this. And I think her date who she was sitting next to kind of like steps forward and is like, look, I'm Nightmare Horse.
Quartermaster.
I'm sorry. Look, we all know how powerful the Nightmare Horse is. There's countless stories about you. You're very glamorous. You're very powerful. We wouldn't want to offend you, but Snap really can't let you in. Like we already got in trouble.
It's simple
earlier.
then. I will throw you aside, and you will simply say that you are unable to stop me.
I think they both stop, and Snap, who is the winter one, looks a little bit like about this because she's an honest person and she's not sure how she feels about that. But Philemont, who's the autumn sword lesbian, is like, yeah, that's brilliant. Yes, this is a great idea, and kind of like gives you the thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
And Snap's like, wait, what? And then
I take my arms out of my sleeves, I pick up the winter one, and I throw them into the wall, and then I open the door.
Great. Okay. Can you? Is there a play here, or is that just talking? Like, do you want to waylay them for real and for proper, or is this just your like push?
I mean, if you don't waylay them real and proper, is it convincing?
This is very
For
true.
later.
Mm-hmm.
This
These
is
are
a
the
very
questions.
good point.
Also, no wonder the Autumn one was down with the plan. They're not getting thrown against the wall.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, yeah, cool.
So yeah, I'm gonna make that
arrogance.
roll.
Okay.
I get an 8 again. I'm rolling a lot of 8s today.
You're rolling a lot of 8. Look, I think we're all 7 to 9 so far, so that's good.
So when you waylay someone, roll on any hit. They must drop everything and deal with my attack. On a 7 to 9, I pick one.
So Snap drops her sword.
And I throw them off balance, and they stumble or fall.
Yep, yeah. So she drops her sword, turns to be like, "What's going on?" You push her, she lands against the wall. Philemon like doesn't quite catch her, but manages to like soften the fall at least a little. Quartermaster strides on through and is joined by Cinder Sam.
Yes, although I think I dart quickly over to the one who was thrown against the wall, and I do like this sort of sequence of movements where I like very quickly check that she hasn't like been injured, and then I like run a hand across like her cheek and like leave this kind of like sooty red mark and say that was a very good fight that you put up there. And like it, like it looks as though
and so like
it was a battle.
Yeah, the door closes with like a loud icy clicking noise. I don't know what noise ice makes. And spotlight down on that chamber, and then spotlight up in the next one, which is lit all in like deep blues and like pale purples in this very like wintry landscape. Ashley, do we want to take a quick break there?
Yeah. I feel like this is a good break spot. So we'll take a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll be back and see what's going on with the other characters, I guess.
We'll see.
Cool. We'll see you in a sec.